Have you ever had a teacher who seemed kind in front of everyone but acted completely different when nobody was watching? Most students believe school is a place where teachers are supposed to protect them, encourage them, and help them succeed. That is exactly what 12-year-old Emma believed until the day a new teacher walked into her classroom. What started as a normal school year slowly turned into a nightmare that followed her everywhere, even into the Roblox world she loved so much. By the time the truth finally came out, nobody in the school could believe what had really been happening behind the classroom door. Before I continue, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another Roblox story. Trust me, this is one you will never forget. Emma was an ordinary girl who loved drawing, reading adventure books, and spending every afternoon playing Roblox. The moment she finished her homework, she would run upstairs, open her laptop, and join Brookhaven. She loved designing beautiful houses, creating funny roleplay stories with her friends, and imagining a world where everyone was kind. Her online friends always described her as the happiest person in the server because she was constantly helping new players and giving everyone compliments on their houses. Roblox was her escape from everyday life, and every time she logged in, she forgot about everything else. School had always been easy for Emma. She earned good grades, respected every teacher, and never caused trouble. She was the quiet student who preferred listening instead of talking. Although she did not have many friends in real life, she never felt lonely because she had an amazing group of Roblox friends waiting for her every afternoon. Her parents often smiled when they heard her laughing through her headset, and they were happy knowing she had found a hobby that made her feel confident. Everything changed one Monday morning when the principal introduced a new homeroom teacher named Mrs. Carter. She was replacing Emma's previous teacher who had retired during the summer. Mrs. Carter walked into the classroom wearing a bright smile and greeted every student by name after reading the attendance sheet. She joked with the class, handed out colorful stickers, and even told everyone they could call her the fun teacher. Within only a few hours, almost every student loved her. Parents praised her during pickup, other teachers welcomed her warmly, and the principal proudly told everyone how lucky the school was to have hired such an experienced educator. Emma believed the same thing. For the first week, everything felt normal. Mrs. Carter complimented students when they answered questions correctly, organized fun classroom games, and even gave everyone a few extra minutes of free time after finishing their assignments. Emma thought she had finally found her favorite teacher. Then, something unexpected happened. One afternoon, after finishing her math worksheet before everyone else, Emma quietly opened her sketchbook. She had spent the weekend creating a brand new Roblox avatar with the Robux she had saved for months. The character wore a blue hoodie, white sneakers, and a cute little fox pet that followed her around every game. Emma carefully started drawing the avatar, adding every small detail exactly as it appeared on her screen the night before. She was smiling while coloring the hoodie when Mrs. Carter suddenly stopped beside her desk. "What are you doing?" she asked. Emma looked up with a small smile. "I already finished my work, so I was just drawing my Roblox character." Mrs. Carter stared at the drawing for several seconds without saying a word. Then, without asking permission, she picked up the sketchbook. Emma expected her teacher to compliment the drawing like every other adult usually did. Instead, Mrs. Carter laughed loudly enough for the entire classroom to hear. "A Roblox character?" she said. "This is what you spend your free time doing?" Several students looked over. Emma felt her cheeks become warm. I just like drawing." Mrs. Carter shook her head. "Children your age waste far too much time on these games." Before Emma could say another word, Mrs. Carter slowly tore the page out of the sketchbook. The classroom became silent. Emma watched in disbelief as the teacher folded the drawing into a small ball and dropped it into the trash can beside the whiteboard. "If you want to become successful someday," Mrs. Carter said, "you need to stop filling your head with video games." Nobody laughed this time. Even the students who normally joked about everything looked uncomfortable. Emma wanted to cry, but she stayed quiet. She simply looked at the trash can where her drawing had disappeared. It had taken almost 3 hours to finish. She had planned to hang it on the wall above her desk at home. That afternoon, she barely spoke during the ride home. Her mother immediately noticed something was wrong, but Emma only shrugged and said she was tired. She did not want her parents worrying about something that seemed so small. Later that evening, she logged into Brookhaven as usual. Her best friend Lily noticed immediately that Emma wasn't acting like herself. "You've been standing still for 5 minutes, Lily typed. "Is everything okay?" Emma finally explained what had happened. Instead of making fun of her, Lily invited all of their friends to build an art gallery inside Brookhaven. They spent the next hour hanging paintings on the walls and pretending they were famous artists. Slowly, Emma smiled again. Her online friends reminded her that one mean person could never destroy her creativity. The next morning, however, things became even stranger. When Emma opened her backpack before first period, her homework was gone. She searched every pocket. Nothing. She knew she had packed it the night before because her father had even helped her check everything before bed. Mrs. Carter walked over. Homework? Emma looked nervous. I finished it, but it's gone. Mrs. Carter sighed loudly. Another excuse? No, I really did it. Mrs. Carter folded her arms. You need to start taking school seriously. Emma received her first missing assignment of the year. During lunch, she finally found the homework folded underneath her desk. Someone had hidden it there. She immediately showed Mrs. Carter. I found it. But instead of apologizing, Mrs. Carter simply looked at the paper and replied, convenient timing. Emma felt a knot form in her stomach. Over the next 2 weeks, strange things kept happening. Her pencils disappeared. Her science project was moved to another table. Someone spilled juice inside her backpack. Every single time, Mrs. Carter blamed Emma before listening to her explanation. Soon, other students started whispering that Emma was careless. A few even stopped choosing her as a partner during group activities. Every afternoon, Emma escaped into Roblox because it was the only place where she still felt safe. But she had no idea that Mrs. Carter wasn't finished with her yet. Everything that had happened so far was only preparing Emma for something much worse. Something that would make the entire school believe she had committed a crime she never even imagined. The following Monday, Emma walked into class with a nervous feeling she could not explain. She checked her backpack 3 times before sitting down, making sure every notebook, every pencil, and every assignment was exactly where it belonged. She was determined not to give Mrs. Carter another reason to blame her. For the first hour, everything seemed normal. Mrs. Carter smiled while teaching, students copied notes from the whiteboard, and Emma quietly focused on her work. She almost convinced herself that maybe things were finally getting better. Then, just before the lunch bell rang, Mrs. Carter suddenly stopped speaking and looked around the room with a worried expression. My wallet is missing, she said. The classroom instantly became silent. Mrs. Carter searched her desk, her purse, and every drawer in the classroom before shaking her head. Nobody leaves until we find it. Some students looked confused. Others began checking under their desks. Emma stayed in her seat, hoping someone would quickly discover the wallet lying somewhere in the room. Instead, Mrs. Carter slowly turned toward her. Emma, bring me your backpack. Emma's heart immediately started racing. Why mine? Just bring it here. The room was so quiet that everyone could hear Emma's footsteps as she carried her backpack to the front of the classroom. Mrs. Carter unzipped it without asking permission. She searched through Emma's books, pencil case, lunchbox, and folders while the rest of the class watched in complete silence. Then, after only a few seconds, Mrs. Carter reached into the front pocket and slowly pulled out a small brown wallet. There it is. Several students gasped. Emma felt like the room had started spinning. I've never seen that before. Mrs. Carter looked disappointed. I expected better from you. I didn't take it, Emma cried. Someone put it there. But nobody believed her. Within minutes, the principal arrived. Emma was taken to the office while the rest of the class whispered among themselves. Some students avoided looking at her. Others quietly shook their heads. Emma had never been in trouble before. Yet now, everyone looked at her as if she were a criminal. Her parents were called immediately. When her mother arrived, Emma was already crying. I promise I didn't do it. Her mother held her hand tightly. I know what kind of person you are. Mrs. Carter calmly explained how she had searched the classroom and found the wallet inside Emma's backpack. Everything sounded convincing. There was no proof that anyone else had touched the bag. The principal sighed. Until we understand exactly what happened, Emma will stay home for the rest of the week. Emma felt completely broken. The moment they arrived home, she locked herself inside her room. She did not open Roblox. She did not answer messages from her friends. She simply sat on her bed staring at the wall, wondering why all of this was happening. That evening, her Roblox friends became worried. Lily sent another message. Emma, are you okay? Everyone is asking where you are." Emma finally replied, "My teacher says I stole her wallet." The group chat immediately became silent. Then one by one, her friends began sending supportive messages. "We know you. You would never do that. We believe you." Those simple words meant everything to Emma because they were the first time in days that someone believed her without asking questions. Meanwhile, Emma's father could not stop thinking about everything that had happened during the past month. The destroyed drawing, the missing homework, the spilled juice, the disappearing pencils, the wallet. Every problem involved only one classroom, Mrs. Carter's. "There has to be something we're missing," he told Emma's mother. The next morning, he returned to the school and asked if anyone had seen strange behavior in the classroom. Most students said no. They were too afraid to speak against the teacher, but one student kept looking at the floor. His name was Noah. As Emma's father prepared to leave, Noah quietly walked over. "Excuse me," Emma's father stopped. I saw something." Noah looked terrified. "I didn't know if I should tell anyone." "What did you see?" Emma's father asked. Noah took a deep breath. "The day Mrs. Carter found the wallet, I saw her standing next to Emma's backpack before class started. I thought she was just moving it because it was in the way." Emma's father felt his heart begin to race. "Are you sure?" Noah nodded. "I didn't think it mattered until now." That single sentence changed everything. Emma's parents immediately shared the information with the principal. At first, he hesitated. Mrs. Carter had an excellent reputation and no previous complaints, but because a student had come forward, he agreed to review everything again. The school checked the hallway security cameras. Although they did not record inside the classroom, one camera pointed directly at the classroom door. The footage showed Mrs. Carter entering the room almost 15 minutes before any student arrived. A few minutes later, she stepped into the hallway, looked around to make sure nobody was watching, then walked back inside carrying Emma's backpack, which had been hanging outside on the classroom hooks. She remained alone with the backpack for nearly 2 minutes. The principal watched the recording twice, then a third time. His face slowly turned pale. The next morning, Mrs. Carter was called into the principal's office. She insisted she had done nothing wrong. She claimed she was simply organizing the classroom. But when the principal asked why she had opened a student's backpack before class, she could not give a clear answer. The school district decided to investigate further. During that investigation, another shocking discovery was made. 2 students from Mrs. Carter's previous school had filed similar complaints the year before. They said homework had mysteriously disappeared, personal belongings had been moved, and they had been unfairly accused of breaking classroom rules. At the time, there had not been enough evidence to prove anything, so the complaints were dismissed. Now, everything finally made sense. Emma was not the first student. She was simply the first one whose family refused to give up. When investigators searched Mrs. Carter's classroom with permission from the school, they found several missing student items hidden inside a locked cabinet. There were notebooks, homework assignments, pencils, lunch cards, and even Emma's missing art drawing, carefully folded between stacks of old papers. Emma burst into tears when her father handed it back to her. She thought she would never see it again. Mrs. Carter was immediately suspended while the investigation continued. A few weeks later, she resigned from her position before the school board completed its disciplinary hearing. The district also notified the appropriate education authorities so the case could be reviewed according to local procedures. Emma returned to school the following month. Walking back into the classroom was not easy. She worried everyone would still remember the rumors, but something unexpected happened. One by one, her classmates walked over to apologize. Even students who had doubted her admitted they should have listened instead of believing gossip. Noah smiled and said, "I'm sorry I didn't speak up sooner." Emma smiled back. "What matters is that you did." That afternoon, Emma logged into Brookhaven for the first time in weeks. Her friends had built a brand new art studio as a surprise. Hanging on the center wall was a framed picture that looked exactly like the drawing Mrs. Carter had thrown away. Lily typed, "Nobody can throw away your imagination." Emma laughed. For the first time in a long time, she felt like herself again. The biggest lesson from Emma's story is simple. If something feels wrong, keep speaking to trusted adults until someone listens. Being respectful does not mean staying silent when you are treated unfairly. One honest witness, one caring parent, and one person willing to tell the truth can completely change the outcome of a situation. What would you have done if you were Emma? Would you have stayed silent, or would you have kept fighting to prove the truth? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Blue Locks, and turn on notifications, because another unforgettable Roblox story is waiting for you in the next video.